Next to me is the Lamborghini Murcielago, one of Sant'Agata Bolognese's greatest creations. It's wild, it's low, it's aggressive, and it is the true definition of a poster car. And this specific Murcielago hides some secrets beneath it that make it even a bit more special. Introduced in 2001, the Murcielago was the first vehicle created by Lamborghini under its new Audi Volkswagen ownership. In theory, that meant better electronics and reliability. When it was initially released, the car was just referred to as the Murcielago, and it came with 580 horsepower. But in 2007, they kicked things up a notch with the second generation, this model dubbed the LP640. That enormous naturally aspirated V12 has been bumped up from 6.2 to 6.5 liters, pushing horsepower to 631 horsepower and 487 pound-feet of torque. The exterior of this LP640 has been modified to look more aggressive. You see, in 2010, Lamborghini released the final hurrah of the Murcielago, dubbed the LP670 SV. It had more power, it was more aggressive, and sported a massive wing, as well as a host of exterior upgrades. Despite the fact that this is an LP640, we've got an aftermarket LP670 front bumper with much larger and pointier air intakes that really improve the look of the vehicle. From the side, you can truly grasp how low the Murcielago really is. It sits at just 3 feet 7 inches tall, which is perfect for evading toll booths or jumping over it in a parkour stunt. You'll also notice the massive intakes towards the rear of the car. When the vehicle requires additional engine cooling at low speeds, these massive bat wings actually open outwards to allow for additional airflow into the engine. Now at high speeds, they actually close back up to increase the aerodynamic profile. However, some owners decided that it looks too cool, so you simply activate it, then disconnect the connection, and leave them open at all times. Lower down, you'll notice there are vents here as well, but on the LP640, they are very unique. Now, this model has aftermarket side skirts, so it changes it a bit, but on the standard vehicle, on the driver's side, it has an additional oil radiator that requires a high-speed air vent on that side. On the other side, the passenger side, there isn't one. So they're actually asymmetrical, the left side from the right side of the Murcielago. In the back, the Murcielago is round and wide. In fact, at 81 inches wide, it's actually girthier than a BMW X5 SUV. Now, to the left and to the right, we have these beautiful snowflake pattern LED taillights, and below that, one of the most legendary exhausts of all time. It's one ginormous tip, but if you look inside, there's actually 2 outlets that produces a Formula One-like piercing, screeching V12 sound that can only be described, well, by allowing you to hear it. Let's listen to this thing. Like all modern V12 Lamborghinis, it's got scissor doors for nothing else other than to look badass. wheels are extremely wide in the Murcielago, so it's best to sit down butt first and then bring your legs in one at a time, and you're in. The interior of the LP640 is as crazy as the exterior. It is riddled with quilted leather on nearly every single panel. The roof is quilted leather, the center console is quilted leather, the seats are quilted leather. Everything is either leather or carbon fiber. And it looks awesome, even for today's day and age. A lot less dated than the Gallardo's interior does. Up front in the instrument cluster, we have this beautiful white font. It looks so aggressive for the tach and the Speedo. We've also got a mix of little green LEDs that look strikingly Lamborghini. Now, there were two transmission options for the Murcielago of this era. 6-speed E-gear. It's a single clutch automated manual transmission that is rough in the shifts. It's a little bit slow, but it does add to some character. And then there was the ultra rare 6-speed manual, which we have here. It's a gated system that feels awesome, and I can't wait to fire this thing up and actually take it for a spin. So, clutch in, turn the car on. Oh, that V12 is awesome. All right, on the road we go. Oh, the nicest shift into second. So this Murcielago has an aftermarket avant-garde exotics exhaust that sounds absolutely terrifying. I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to hear me over the sound of that crazy 6.5 liter V12. The Murcielago is fast, really fast. 0 to 60 happens in 3.4 seconds, and its top speed is 211 miles an hour. Now, standard, the Murcielago comes all-wheel drive, as typical with Lamborghinis. But this one has been converted to rear-wheel drive. Why? Well, the owner wanted to do more burnouts, more drifts, and it improves the handling and acceleration as well. Without the front drivetrain in there, the steering is a lot looser. In a normal Murcielago, it's like you're wrestling a bull, which is fun in its own right. The steering is insanely heavy and a little bit less communicative, but in this, oh my God, the steering feels nice. Turn in is sharp. The seating position in the Murcielago is really unique. You're so low down and back into the car. You feel like you've got so much room in front of you. Visibility is, there is no visibility. Oh, the gated manual is sick. Suspension is very firm. But I'm honestly impressed with rear-wheel drive mode, how well this thing handles. Oh, that sounds so good. One of the biggest complaints of the Murcielago is how wide and cumbersome it is driving around town. And I'm not gonna lie, driving this is very, very intimidating. But it's almost a double-edged sword. You know, some people want the car that feels like it's going to kill them. And a rear-wheel drive 631 horsepower Murcielago in a manual is the ultimate recipe for a car that feels like it's going to kill you. It's hard to tell where the edges of the car are. It's a little bit hard to place it on the road. It's kind of somewhat difficult to drive. But a lot of that makes it fun. It's exciting. It's not like driving a normal car whatsoever. You know that you are in a Lamborghini Murcielago. The pedal positioning for your feet is incredibly close together. The brake and the gas are nearly touching each other. So if you do have big feet, you might have a little bit of difficulty driving this thing. But the headroom is actually pretty good in this car. It's just such a handful to drive. This thing is ridiculous. It's definitely a lot more at home at wide sweeping turns and not tight twisty canyons. It feels like too big of a bull for that. But you know what, in rear wheel drive mode, it's doing all right. It's doing all right. Oh. All right, I'm gonna pick up the owner now and have a discussion with him about what it's like to own a Murcielago, what the maintenance has been like, have there been any issues with the car, and what his favorite and least favorite parts of the Murcielago have been. Let's pick up Edmund. Driving the Murcielago is exciting and terrifying all at the same time, and that is what makes it so damn special. That sound! Oh my God! All right, guys, so now we are in the car with Edmund, the owner of this Murcielago. He runs a YouTube channel called Fifth Gear and Up, so make sure to check that out. Dude, so how long have you owned this car?
It's been about 3 years.
Awesome. And I know Murcielago ownership can be like a blessing and a curse with its reliability.
Yes.
How has it been?
This car in specific, I haven't had any issues. The only problem I had was my heater core, but that's an electronic part.
Okay.
As far as all the clutch drops I've done, not a single issue. Let's lower the nose. The car's been bulletproof. I maintain it well. I maintain it all the time. That has been the key to having this car run properly.
Have you had to replace the clutch yet?
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
A couple of times, yes, but I mean, you know, that's expected. I actually have to replace it now, but I'd rather replace clutches and drive the car the way it's meant to be driven
100%.
than baby the car.
100%. And that's kind of that's a relatively big ticket item. What does that normally run?
15K, between 10 to 15K.
Gotcha.
You have to remove the entire engine to replace the clutch.
Wow, that's insane.
It involves a lot of service.
Dude, I like it. I think it handles a lot better rear-wheel drive than all-wheel drive.
Absolutely.
So what was the reason? Why did you want to make it rear-wheel drive, and how did you do that?
Well, to make a rear-wheel drive, all you do is remove the front axles, the front diff, and the drive shaft, and then plug the rear transfer case.
Okay.
The reason I did it is because I decided to go with the staggered wheel setup. 20s in the front, in the rear, 19 in the front. And because of that different staggered setup, the front diff has a completely different gear ratio. It's made for a 18 and 18 setup, not a 19 and 20.
Gotcha.
If I left the front diff in there, it would burn out over time.
Fair enough.
At about 500 miles.
And you can do burnouts and stuff.
Well, I'll show you.
Okay. all right.
Drift this thing. It's the best part about it. You ready to get scared?
I'm ready. Oh, it sounds ridiculous.
For a 10-year-old car.
Dude, it is fast.
I hit the horn accidentally.
Wow.
As I was keeping up with SVJ on the driving yesterday.
And then you've removed the cats, right? So this thing shoots huge flames?
Yeah, we could actually get it on tape over here.
Oh, you can see the flames from your backup camera.
On the back camera.
That's unbelievable.
That's why I always have it on.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, that sounds good.
Here comes your flame right there, look.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. So what's your favorite part about the car?
The noise.
Yeah, dude.
The noise.
It sounds
the noise.
unbelievable.
It takes the level to a 12. There is nothing louder than this car.
Oh my god. Woo. All right, any negatives? Things you don't like about the car?
To be honest, this car is a kid car for all intents and purposes. It doesn't have the modern technology and the modern fitment of a new car. So every single day there's going to be a different noise in the car. Like today I hear a noise coming from this side. Yesterday it was a noise coming from there. You know, the week before a noise coming from this side. It doesn't have a monocoque chassis. So in the event you get into an accident, you're toast. You don't feel secure in this car.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm slowly starting to like newer cars.
Sure.
It wasn't until yesterday when we saw the SVJ where I saw both cars next to each other and I realized how beautiful the SVJ is. The tech that's on that car, you know, it's unmatched to this. And this car currently is going through this like teen phase. I think that's the best way to describe it. So it's going through that awkward puberty stage.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's growing a little mustache. It's got a little chin hair going on, maybe a unibrow. You know, it's like a freshman in high school.
Sure,
it's going through that ugly phase. It's not until the car becomes a classic, when it, you know, in 10 years from now, when the car's a bit older, it's a classic, then, you know, it becomes a man. Like, you know, it's a college student at that point, right? It's a 20-year-old car. It really gets into its own. So this car, it's right at that level where, you know, it's becoming too old to be a modern sports car, and it's on the verge of becoming a classic. So if I took this car to the track against my GT3 RS, for example, or a Con, this car would get smoked.
Yep. But I don't think it's about that. It's more about the emotional experience, especially. Right. So how many manuals did they make?
They made 26 total. 7 of those were roadsters, 19 were coupes. Of those 19, this is the only one that's made in red. So
wow.
This is a one of one.
And it's rear-wheel drive, so it's more rare.
Correct.
That's incredible. And didn't you have some story about Valentino Balboni?
Yeah, he signed the Legend Bay.
And he was excited about the fact that it was rear-wheel drive?
I saw him in Monterey at Quail. You were there.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, Valentino, please sign my car. I'm a huge fan of yours. I converted my car to rear-wheel drive. It's the only red 6-speed in the world. He actually knew of the car. He's seen videos of the car, and the fact that I converted to rear-wheel drive, you know, Valentino loves rear-wheel drive cars. He completely went berserk. He's like, you converted it to rear-wheel drive? Yes, I will come sign. So that was a very cool experience with him.
Awesome, dude. So overall, you love the car?
Overall, I love the car. I'm keeping this car forever. I'm gonna hand it down to my son whenever I have one. Hopefully, I'll have a son. If not, my daughters will get it. But I feel like in 10 years from now, this car will become its own. It'll become that iconic classic of the golden era. You know, the golden era where they made manual transmissions. This modern day era, they have a lot of tech, which is great for the track, but you don't feel in tune with the car. There's no greater feeling than rolling gears. Hearing that
noise is unbelievable.
That gated click. And rev matching. There's nothing better than that.
That is sick. Oh my god, and the sound.
So,
well, there you have it. 6.5 liter V12. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. It is a handful to drive, but a fun one at that. Thanks again, dude, for letting me drive your car.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.